Hey guys, what's up? This is Nachos, and in this video I'm going to show you guys how to improve your mindset in less than 10 minutes. Let's go. Alright, so first of all, the amount of success that you'll have as a player largely depends on the quality of your systems and your ability to use and integrate habits that are going to enhance your chances to success. And this is something that oftentimes sets apart a player that is relatively weak from a player that is very strong. And I see the difference pretty much on a daily basis when I'm coaching players. I run a CFP at this point called NachosPoker. And on a weekly basis, I have like 10, 15 calls with players that I'm coaching. And one of the things that always comes back is that the guys that are not very successful and don't have a lot of self-confidence often can't really derive that self-confidence from the systems that they have because they're sort of all over the place. And their study largely depends on whether they feel motivated in the moment or even like in a week. And when they're on a downswing, they're going to suddenly study a lot more because now they're being confronted with the fact that they might not be as good as they think they are. And then sometimes they're going to win a lot and they're not going to do any study at all. Improving your mindset starts with having a very solid foundation. That means doing deliberate practice and making sure that you study on a regular basis. And you should pretty much know what you're going to study for the next week or the next couple of weeks. Know exactly when you're going to study. Make sure that there's as little decision fatigue as possible and just execute the plan that you've set for yourself. Even if it's not a perfect plan, if you're executing it consistently, that will increase the chances of success dramatically. And you will be able to tell yourself whenever you are on an extended downswing. Usually the thing that is most confrontational about a situation like that is, let's say you're on a 40 buy-in downswing, as happened to me before, then the thing that gets stuck in the back of your mind is like, what if you're not a winning player to begin with, right? Like, what if you at this point have just been lucky up until this point? What if the games have changed and you're just playing, but you're losing and you're going to keep on losing? And the thing that you want to be telling yourself, or you want to be able to tell yourself, is even if I'm a losing player right now, then that doesn't mean that I'm going to be staying a losing player forever, because I have the systems and the habits in place that will allow me to continuously grow as a player. And just knowing that you're able to do the work that needs to be done in order to succeed will cut away like 50% of the negative emotions that you're feeling, because you can tell yourself honestly, like, okay, even if this shitty situation that I'm in is like the reality, which quite likely it's not, but even if that's the case, then I will be the guy that is able to work through this downswing by just doing the work that needs to be done. Then there's two things that I think are worth highlighting, two important things. One is you're going to have emotions. It's just a part of life. And especially as a poker player, where the amount of work that you're putting in rarely reflects the result, is reflected in the results that you're getting on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis. I did some work on this not too long ago, and I realized that I'm losing about 45% of the sessions that I play. I have a pretty high win rate, 6-7 big blinds per 100. And even I am losing 45% of the sessions that I'm playing. In other words, like, poker is very hard. Losing is a natural part of the process. And so the swings and the emotional swings that you're enduring are going to be a natural part of the process. And the best thing you can do is just accept them for what they are and allowing yourself to feel shitty sometimes. It's just part of the process as a poker player, that you are going to be putting in a lot of effort. You really want to do well. And then the results are different. The cards fall a different way, and you're just continuously getting smacked in the face by the deck. This is just a part of the life that you've chosen as a poker player. And just being able to tell yourself, okay, I've lost like 10 buy-ins today. I've already lost like 20 this week. This is just a very shitty situation, and I'm allowing myself to feel shitty about it. That resolves a big part of the emotions immediately, rather than resisting and trying to struggle through it. Generally doesn't work as well as just accepting the fact that, hey, you're a poker player. You've been in a very unlucky situation. You definitely want to be in a different situation. And so because those things happened, you are feeling bad right now, and that is just going to be part of the process. And then the last thing is something that is part of a book called The Hero's Journey, which is a writing book. The Hero's Journey is basically the idea that every story has a similar structure where you have a hero, and that hero goes through certain things. And because he is going through these things, he's going to be like the guy that ends up defeating the end boss. So like if you think about some superhero movie, like the guy that's that is there at the start of the movie is not the guy that is going to be beating the end boss at the end of the movie. Like usually he goes through 1, 2, 3 iterations of things that go very badly. And in a moment he will feel very shitty, but those will be the moments that change his trajectory in the movie. And the same thing goes in poker, I think. I remember being on a very large downswing when I was playing 10-20 and then later 5-10 and 500 because I had to move down in Poker Detox. And I was down about 40, 45 buy-ins. Can't remember exactly. But I remember being at this point where I realized, okay, I feel very shitty, accepting to feel shitty, but that only goes so far. But then I realized, okay, like there's no way to get through this. There's no way to actually become a very good poker player who's able to handle these 45 buy-in downswings, like 30, 40K downswing, without actually going through it and then like coming out at the other end and still breathing and still like excited to play the game. And so in other words, like this is part of the process. And if you're lucky enough to succeed at high stakes at some point, then that means that like these are the moments where you will learn most. Right. And then the last section of this video is you don't want to change your emotions. You have zero control over them, but you can change the way you think. And those thoughts will have an influence, like those thoughts will influence your emotions, right? So if you happen to make a slight mistake in a hand, like you misread a stack, or even like you click the wrong button simply because of realizing 1 or 2 data points, and then after the hand you realize, okay, actually this was what was happening and I missed that, and now if I could go back I would have clicked a different button. Like you can go and just tell yourself, hey, that's a really shitty decision. If you keep doing this, you're never going to be a winning player. And then you can see that is going to snowball into more negative emotions. What you could also do is try to tell yourself, hey, you made a mistake. Poker is a game of mistakes. Making mistakes is inevitable. The only thing you can do now is try to learn as much as possible and try to make the best decisions that you can for the rest of the session. And like those 2 thoughts are definitely thoughts that poker players think. And one of them like is going to be like the low stakes grinder that is going to be stuck at low stakes forever and never going to be a very successful poker player. And the other one is one that can handle a lot of swings and is a lot more resilient. And you get to choose which one of those poker players you're going to be. You can't control the emotions that you're going to feel in a moment, but you can change the way you think about your reality. You can shape your reality by changing your thoughts and emotions and the concepts that you believe in. So I do that by observing my emotions when I'm in-game. I usually have some paper laying around where I just write down stuff that I think, feel, and sometimes just like technical stuff as well. And then later on, I try to reframe those into something that is more positive and helpful to myself in-game. Like the one that I just told you about with the mistakes, like I used to be the player that would get really mad. I could like smack my desk when I would make a mistake, but really frustrated. And then later on, I deconstructed that and I thought to myself, okay, I am going to feel badly about making the mistake. That's not going to change. But what I can change is like the amount of support and self-love that I practice towards myself in a moment like that. And the moment that I change that usually what ends up happening is like I make the mistake. I still feel like that really stressful and like almost angry at myself emotion, but that resolves relatively quickly when I'm telling myself, hey, like poker's a game of mistakes, which is true. And this is just feel bad about it, but try to make the best decisions that you can in the moment. And once I changed that, and once I started to actively think that would change my reality. I used to do that by just having these cards, these physical cards, and I would just like pick them up every time it happened. Later on, I changed to using Anki, which is a flashcard tool. And before my sessions, I draw a bunch of flashcards for my mindset, and usually I swap them out because like the one that is like revolving around mistake tilt is not really relevant to my situation right now anymore. The thing that I struggled with mostly over the last year is like, what is my core motivation when I want to play poker? And how do I deal with downswings, extended downswings? gave you two examples here. So what is my core value when it comes to poker? And my core value is to use it as a tool to self-improvement. So I want to learn as much as possible. And at the same time, I want to provide for my family. And so that is something that I want to reinforce. And one of the things I struggled with over the last year is like, why would I sit down? I don't really enjoy the process of playing as much anymore. These days, I actually got that back a lot. Like I actually am excited to play poker again, but for a long time I didn't. I think it is because like I got to a point where I was playing 10-20 every day, and like playing more 10-20 didn't really feel too exciting. But playing 25-50 and higher wasn't really possible from the Netherlands. So it wasn't really anything that I could do to take that next step in poker. And once I realized that my core motivation isn't really playing the highest limit, but it's providing for my family and trying to learn as much as possible, that really helped me to see poker as something positive in my life again. So yeah, like I'm going to share the flashcards that I made for myself. Keep in mind they're highly personal and they're probably not going to be applicable to your situation. And I highly advise you to just make them yourself. But it should give you some inspiration on how to do this. For now, if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe and join the Discord server. I'll be sharing my flashcards, my mindset flashcards in there. So be tuned for that. And for now, good luck at the tables and talk to you guys soon. Bye.